Hey guys, so real quick video today. I'm going to share a couple of cool and simple ways to use kinesiology tape, this stuff, to support the arch of your foot. So you would choose kinesiology tape if you have an issue with a muscle or a tendon of your foot. So if we take a look at the foot here, we have two main tendons coming down that are the tendons that support the arch. This is tibialis anterior and then posterior tibialis, and it inserts onto the bottom of the arch. And those two work together to help support the arch in a dynamic way. In addition, we have a bunch of very strong ligaments that do that, but some people have ligaments that are not as strong or looser. Others have injured those ligaments. And for all of those reasons, the arch of the foot can start to pronate too far or collapse. And that's something that we can help with a little bit of kinesiology tape. So when the foot collapses, this bone right here, the navicular bone, drops towards the floor, and the forefoot, this part of the foot, starts to move to the outside. And so the whole foot rotates and rolls like that. So what we're going to do with our kinesiology tape is we're going to counter that by following the path of those two tendons that I mentioned. This tape is going to be great for someone who's considering doing an activity that requires muscular effort that might fatigue. So going for a long walk or a hike, perhaps playing a sport, and again for someone with a strain or weakness of the muscle and tendon. If someone has a more of a ligament or a more structural kind of instability in the foot or sprain the foot, I typically will use a more rigid kind of taping or bracing. But for milder things and to give the foot a little bit of a boost, I think the kinesiology tape works awesome, and I use it all the time. So you need a few things. You're going to need kinesiology tape of some kind. There's a lot of different brands out there. We're using this brand right now, but there are others. This one's pretty good. This is a huge roll. You're probably not going to need a roll this big. So your skin needs to be dry and clean. So rub it. Make sure you take off any sweat, oils, lotion, things like that. Okay, so here's our foot. The first one we're going to do is Tibialis Posterior, which comes right up here. It attaches at the bottom of the foot, comes behind the tibia right here, and up the center of the back of the leg, okay? This muscle basically is a powerful inverter of the foot because of its attachment down there, and it pulls across here. When that shortens, it inverts the foot like this and adducts it, which is this motion right here. So right there, you can see that posterior tibialis. So we're going to take our tape, and it's going to basically anchor off the sole of the foot. Anytime you anchor tape on the sole, you're just creating an edge that can roll when you're walking around and moving. So we want to start this on the opposite side of the foot. And you can see that tendon coming right up the back there. And so we're gonna match that. We're just gonna follow the course of that tendon. I put the tape this way deliberately just to show you how it's gonna lay. When we put it on, obviously we're gonna put it sticky side down. So for length, there's gonna be some stretch, about 50% stretch. So if I mark a spot about midway up my malleolus right here, and I start the tape on the edge of my foot, that tape is going to basically get half again as long. So it's going to end up somewhere around here. Well, let's go a little bit longer. So I'm just going to come right to the top of the malleolus and I'll cut my tape there. Make sure you use good sharp scissors for this. And then pro tip, fold your tape in half and round the edges to make it a little bit less likely that tape is going to roll just from the action of your foot. So here we go. Tear the paper just like that. Peel that off. I've left about an inch right there. This is going to be my tail, and this does not have any stretch at all. So what I like to do is I like to put my foot at a functional angle, which is not pointed like this. It's actually dorsiflexed just a little. So if I was standing, I'd have my knee slightly bent, and that's going to dorsiflex this ankle. So I'm going to put my foot in a functional position. I'm going to just bring it up a little bit like that so I can see this tendon. And I'm going to lay the tape right over the tendon and then slide it down until I can get this very end onto my skin. And there is zero stretch right now. I just touch it like that and then wrap it around. Make sure it makes good contact. And at this point, I'm gonna keep this same dorsiflexion of my foot. This hand comes around to hold the tail that I just made, and I just come to the end of the tape. I give a little pull, and that basically frees up the paper. So the paper comes off very easily if I just pull just like that. So I'll uncover about another half or so of the tape. Now this is where it gets really interesting. I've got my foot in a little bit of dorsiflexion right here, and now I'm going to let my foot go into abduction. And as I do that, I'm gonna let the tape drape right across the bottom of my foot, just like that. Once I get to my malleolus right here, the magic is done, and I'm just going to very, very relaxed, without any extra tension, lay that tail down just like that. Okay, so that is our posterior tibial tape. Anytime you have tape on the bottom of your foot, like these edges right here, these are going to be a little bit vulnerable to rolling. Just as you're walking around, there's some shear there between your foot and your shoe, and that can tend to roll these edges. So my recommendation is before you get your foot in your shoe, rub them pretty vigorously to activate the glue, and that'll help just a little bit keep it from doing that. So that's version number 1, posterior tibialis. For version number 2, this one's a little bit more complicated. We're going to start more or less in the same place, only this time tibialis anterior is this tendon right here, and this tendon attaches right where my thumb is right there, and it really supports the arch from the top. It's a nice support for that structure. So for this one, we're gonna come up this way, okay? So again, I just have this reversed to show you, but we're gonna start in the same place. We're gonna come straight up, and this one actually wraps around the lower leg, and it just anchors maybe a little bit higher than this one, but not too much on the other side. So to figure out our length, here we go, we're back into our slight dorsiflex position, anchor that edge there, come straight up, and this time I'm gonna come just to the top of my foot, and then maybe we'll go another inch above that. So that's about how long I want that because of that stretch. So same thing, we're gonna make our tail. So I just pinch the tape between my 2 fingers, hold it at the end just like that, and tear. The tape, of course, will not tear, but the paper will. And so that makes it really easy to make our tail, just like that. Same thing, let's get our foot in position, pull that into dorsiflexion a little bit. This one you can just come straight up, you don't have to move it in or out. We'll come straight up. This is where it's gonna lay. It's gonna lay at that kind of an angle. So I'm gonna slide this around my foot until I'm right on the edge of my foot, and then I'm gonna lay this tail without any tension, hold it, give that a tug. And can you see as I give that a tug, it just releases the paper really nicely. So now I've got a little handle here. One hand goes down to hold the tail in place. This one I'm just gonna come straight up. I'm gonna use about 50 to 60% force on this one, or stretch. So 50 to 60% stretch. Take your tape, hold a little handle on the end of tape and paper both, pull it until it doesn't give any more. That is 100%. Release that all the way until it's totally slack. That's 0%, so that gives you your range, 0 to 100. I'm gonna go about halfway, pull that up into dorsiflexion, and then with my other hand, we're gonna lay that on my foot. And then as I get to this point, I'm gonna continue to come around. I'm gonna turn a little so you can see this part. So here I was, lay that on there, come around, and then right here, I'll just relax my foot. It's a little too strong right there. Relax my foot, and then this part wraps around like that. I'm gonna turn this so you can see, okay? So this is where it ends. So this one is our Tibialis anterior tape right there. This tape is breathable, it's comfortable. The version that I'm using is recommended up to 5 days. So if you have a good bond and it's not peeling, you can wear this quite a long time. Pull it off right away if your skin itches or you're having increased pain or discomfort. If your body doesn't like it, I'll always tell my patients the tape is only supposed to be neutral or positive. It's never supposed to be negative. So if your body doesn't like it, if you don't like it for any reason, to take it off right away. And to take it off, saturate this tape with water. Do this in the shower, do it in the bath. Get it really wet. That'll help break up some of the adhesive bonds. The longer it's on there, the stronger it's gonna stick to your skin. So don't pull it off fast. Take your time to pull it off, otherwise you will remove skin or irritate your skin. They do make hypoallergenic versions. None of them have latex, which is great, but they do have adhesive, and adhesive can irritate skin. So if you have skin that's easily irritated and you want to try the tape, look for a special hypoallergenic sensitive skin version. There you go. Those are our dual methods for taping the arch of the foot. So here's how that looks on the side of the foot. You can see that it's up about an inch, inch and a half just on the side. That's very comfortable to wear. And then our tib anterior comes straight up the arch, wraps around like that. And then our tib posterior comes behind the medial malleolus, just like that. I hope that's been helpful. As always, thanks for visiting the channel. Be sure to hit like and subscribe for more of this kind of content, and I hope to see you next time.